I hope my cuz don't hit me for playing that.
You can't get too close to my voice, a foul.
You knew I was crazy. Why would you do stuff to make me act crazy, then complain about me being crazy when you knew I was crazy?
As I don't curse him out, and as long as I don't threaten him, I can say what I want. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
We sick and tired of that nigga there. As long as I
Well, this is the Chocolate Mountain Show, and I am Big Pontiac, the last of the Time Walkers. Welcome to my galactic patio, because I am your one and only galactic daddy-o, bringing you from Minnesota to the motherfucking universe. Dr. Sinister, what's happening? What's happening? Let me tell y'all now, you know, I work out, I play pickleball. I don't really do any other workout, but pickleball is a hell of a workout. But anyway, so I decided to bring my speaker. My speaker's about so big, it's a big JBL, so it punches quite a bit, and you know. So, you know, mostly on there is R&B. It was like Bloodstone. It was like almost all the Bloodstone. Girl, how does it feel? How do you know, that kind of shit? And so Big Mike came on, and you know, thanks for getting your hair done for me, G. I'm just a player. And it's a little bit of cussing. This wannabe Eastern European, keep in mind, Eastern European came up. How do you listen to that crap? I play with a native sister, and she gave it to him. You know, it's like, I'm telling him to get the fuck away from me. I'm like, what the fuck is, you know, what? Now, these other motherfuckers, this is how European Americans are. This is a Eastern European, the dude who started it. But the Europeans, you know, I know one of the motherfuckers. These motherfuckers, four is playing. I know one of the motherfuckers is playing. They're like, why wish we playing some Motley Crue? What, I'm supposed to not listen to my shit? To listen to some, like, oh, okay, man, Motley Crue, here we go. Man, fuck them, but my girl gave him to him. My girl like, look, this is a public place, get the fuck out of our face. He backed up, started playing pickleball. But that's how my day went. Well, I'm gonna get the work done so I can just talk shit. Thank you, Jamar, coming in. What's happening? All right, so, you know, this week, I did better than last week. This week, I end up 10, 6, and 1. I take the tie. I mean, I got to take the tie. I made a choice, so I have to take the tie, too. So I end up 10, 6, and 1. Won last night, both games. I had both games. Lost the Cards, lost the Vikings, lost the Commanders, lost the Chargers, which that was some bullshit. The Chargers game was definitely some bullshit. Won Texans, Eagles, Pats, Bills, Lions, Rams, and the Chiefs. And I won the Dolphins, and the Broncos. So I end up 10-6-1. So year to date, I am 46-17. 46-17 year to date. So week 5, I will do another motherfucking show for week 5 predictions. I'll either do it tomorrow or Thursday morning. Oh, I'm gonna give a special shout out to Aloha Monkey Tattoos. I don't get no tattoos or piercing, but my wife and my son and my daughter, they get their piercings from this place. So, and you know, my favorite is Dude's Boutique. That is my favorite. That's where all my furs, well, not all of them, but a couple furs and a couple fur hats come from that motherfucker. So shout out to them up in Philly. Oh shit, I ate all this motherfucker. So you know, I played God, what did I play? I played over 2 hours of pickleball today. Let me see. And let me tell you, up here, I remember September's where I'm running heat the end of September. I'm mad in the motherfucker because I'm running heat. I got my heat on the end of September. We still got air on. We got air on at least until Saturday. We got air on. It's going to be 90 Friday. It was 82 today. 82, well, let's see what it is now. Let's see. Whoops, there it is. 72 right now, which is warm for up here. And so, you know, we've been still playing pickleball outside. I didn't play this morning. I had a meeting that kind of forgot yesterday, and I could have got the meeting done yesterday. But my wife ended up having to do something. And I was like, oh man, I got to I had to tell the person, I was like, hey, we got to meet another time. I'm sorry about this. Because my wife had a doctor's appointment, and, you know, it was important for me to go. But anyway, my activity today was, so I got 9,500 steps in, which is 4.4 miles, 6 floors worth of stairs and shit. So I burned 1,300 calories. Physical effort was 3.5 METs. 13 stand hours. Okay, my workout was 2 hours and 14 minutes. Yeah, 2 hours and 14 minutes was the workout. So says above average on the cardio fitness. Yeah, the recovery rate was pretty cool. So, you know, good day to work out. It's gonna be nice all week. I got a group of people we play with, and we played. Yeah, I played probably 10 games with them, my group. And then there was some young people that came that needed one. And I wasn't really tired. I mean, the group it's like me and Ben playing each other. You know, it's like Ben is a decent player too. And he's a little hurt, I noticed. But it's me and like the way they play. And this, if y'all ever play, this is how they play. They go after the weakest person. 2 people will go after 1 person. I mean, that's just the way the game is. If you're not strong on one side, 2 people will go at you. So just know that if you play and you're not good, and it's your first times, and you playing against people that can play, they're going to go at you because people want to win. And so, but what I do, I go at the better player. You know, I learned that this winter because I just picked that up. And it's like, even my girls I play with, that's what they do too. They self-consciously, they don't do it, but it's, again, the game is about really hitting it to the weakest player. And they get me a few times, but it's cool. You know, it's a good workout. El General Peace, thank you for joining. I'm glad you came in. Yeah, so I had a few minutes. I watched a little bit of baseball. I know it's baseball playoffs on, so that's probably, I'm not going to be on too long, but I can say a little bit, you know. The world is crazy. It's like, one thing I wanted to talk about is like, what is the enemy within? You know, what is that? You know, that comes from a World War II reference. You know, that comes from Roosevelt during World War II, talked about the spies in America. Now, we had Nixon that declared war. The war on drugs really was the war on melanated people. And, you know, the war on drugs was 2-front. You know, they brought in the drugs. And again, I've been talking of like 2 things I learned really early. somebody sent me Gary Webb's paperwork right after he did it. And that must have been 94, 95. But I've said this before. I worked with a cat back in the 80s. I think I worked 83, 84, 85. I worked 3 years and he must have worked 2 years while I was there. But he was a Vietnam vet. And this dude told me about the story of one. He told me this back in 82. He told me the story. Maybe he told me 80, 83 or 84. He started working, I think, in 84. He started working in 84. So he had to tell me in 84. And I'm trying to think, I knew this nigga for 2 years. So maybe 83. But anyway, he told me, he's like, yeah, man, it's word out there that one of the sergeants was shipping heroin back with the bodies. I was like, okay. And then I heard Gary Webb's work. And so, it told you right there, like you're getting, if anybody thinks that Frank Lucas just magically went over there, without government, come on, it don't work like that. Don't work like that. I mean, they went into Afghanistan the same reason they went into in Vietnam so long. It was about the heroin trade, the Golden Triangle, the heroin, the rubber, tungsten. That's what Vietnam has. So if you don't think they was taking those kind of things, they was definitely taking those kind of things. What do you think they was doing? They was protecting, I think, Super Slides, knew somebody that said, with what was his name, the football player that got killed, Pat Tillman, that he was complaining about them protecting poppy fields. And let's not forget, Bill Clinton gave $42 million to the Taliban to not sell heroin. They didn't destroy the poppy fields. You ain't gonna hear any soldier saying they was over there blowing them poppy fields up. That's like gold. And let's not forget the history of England and them selling, heroin around the world, refining heroin and then trying to get all of China addicted. I mean, that's what they did. I mean, when they do these things, like I give the example of when they came out with 2D, which is pagers. They knew when they put pagers on phones that children was gonna die. That children would think it's more important to look at that page than live. They knew this, but they say it's acceptable risk. So when the war on drugs came and they created crack, because again, freebase with the ether is a more expensive process than just baking soda. It's a more expensive process than just cutting it with baking soda. Because basically, like the way they was doing in Colombia, them motherfuckers was just, once you break the paste down with gasoline and leaves and you strain and just got that paste, they was just stick a cigarette, rub the paste on the cigarette and just smoke that motherfucker. Because that paste is pretty pure. It's pure as you get it. And so they knew. And then who went to jail? I mean, they said during the war on drugs, during Bill Clinton's time, they put, and that was the problem with Biden. Biden was all behind that. He said it didn't matter about your upbringing. None of that mattered. None of your circumstances mattered. And they brought a product in, and they bring it in, and knowing melanated folks, because I've talked about this many times before. One thing Al Prophet hits on is during the 60s and the 50s and the 60s of the boom of General Motors and melanated people really getting it, which brought us Motown, which brought us Roger Troutman and them and Bootsy and them out of Dayton, Ohio. They wanted to crush the genius. They wanted to crush the genius and replace crack, with jobs. Give no one any other output, but you're behind it. Like I mentioned before, I lived in a city where 22 keys came up missing from the police department. Somebody broke in the police department and took and stole 22 keys, and nobody in the police department knew about it. Nobody saw anything. Police chief took another job. All the top lieutenants was able to retire. Held not anyone responsible for that. And I knew whose dope they took, and I saw the dope back on the street again. So do you see? They always got their hand in it. And that's why, they wanted to prop up these dope dealers. There was always agents. Always agents. Always having a connection. Like they don't know. Shit, Rayford Williams went into prison and was still an agent in prison. They were still letting him deal to take down Colombians. Still an agent. He was an agent on the outside, agent on the inside. And none of them took responsibility, even though they know who brought it in. Reagan, Oliver North. And so, again, with the rhetoric we heard, the enemy within, who do you think he means? Now, I agree, with the melanated people from south of the border, that ain't really our fight. Not really. Now, there's some cool people, but there have been some shitty people, them groups of people. They've been some shitty people to brothers and sisters. Well, I know some cool people, but I know some shitty people too. Got attitudes. Keep telling the dude to quit knocking over the motherfucking drain ditch when they cut grass, and they keep doing it. But when they talk about the enemy within, again, anyone that has anything to say against these people. That's really what they're going to try to call it. They're going to try to call any speaking against, and again, it gets into fascism. And really, we've been into fascism since America, the 1870s, when they became the corporation. It's not a country. And haven't been a country. Hey, Marcus Productions, V Productions, what's happening? Marcus the Great, what's happening? Max V Productions. Yeah, I didn't have my eyes down. I got these front and down so I can read. I have to wear my glasses so I can read. Okay, other ones. So, and I'm going to say this. Now, I've said before, Harris, like even now, Nick Taylor said the best thing about it. He said it. He said, when Carmela needs black folks, she show up around black folks. But what's she been doing since? She said a couple of little things. She ain't out in the streets, making speeches. Not really. She ain't down with the people. And so what we just saw politically, all of them wanted. They're gonna, did you see, like just think before with Biden and them, you looked at Fox and everything they were saying all day, and now it's reversed. You looked at CNN, CNBC, it's reversed. It's the same. So all of them wanted this. So don't think that they didn't. They did. The way things are, all of them are in agreement because all them legislatures is getting paid. No one can say they're not. They're getting paid regardless. And you can't say that Biden and them didn't use the FBI to go after Trump. You can't say that they didn't. They did. And probably a lot of what they went after him for was illegal. And not to say that he's the greatest, because definitely not. So many lies, so many misrepresentations. You got a vice president, what did he call it? He called Trump a demon. Didn't he call Trump a demon? That's what the vice president called him. He called him fascist. Now he's saying, well, nothing's not fascist, but what have they always been? Let's look back at Roosevelt. Very much a fascist. What did he do? What did they do in World War II? They took over all industry. Let me say that again. America took over all industry in 1941. They took over all industry. Now tell me that ain't fascism. Tell me that's not fascism. Nick Taylor, I want you to argue that too. You ever get that? And it's no shade or nothing, bro. It's just that you tell me that wasn't fascism to take over all industry. What was it? What do you call it when Roosevelt took all the gold in 1933? What was that called? What right did he have to take over all the gold and get back money, debt money? What do you call that? He was president for 12 years. Well, the country needs me. Crippled. Died younger than me. Died at 63. I'm 64. Cigarette smoker, legs is gone. And that's what they're setting up now. Not and you have to argue like the first people during his first administration was politicians. They were politicians. So this time he's like, fuck getting qualified people. I am just going to get people that just bend to the knee. That's pretty much what he did. Pretty much what he did. So again, we have the front man, and that's what it always is the front men aren't the smartest people in the world. So you got to take care of yourself. You really got to take care of yourself. And I mentioned the little spat I had today again. Everything ain't about that. I have to remind my daughter of that. Everything is not about, us against them or them against us, or we're different, they're different, we all got our own thing. All of us have our own thing, our own prejudices, our own likes, our own dislikes. It's just natural. Fucking if you don't like chocolate, I'm not mad at you because you don't like chocolate. And just being a human being. Just being a human being and being joyful. I passed the lady when it came out and I had to throw it off me. This lady, you could just tell the shit was on her mind. Whatever she did, she looked like she had been working. So her job, something was still on her mind. And I'm like, and it tried to jump on me. I'm like, nah, bitch, take that shit back. I don't want none of that what's fucking with you. So you take that shit right back. Because I'm not taking none of your attitude or nothing. It's like, put that motherfucking shield up. Nah, keep that shit. You keep whatever's going with you. I got a friend, Melissa, and it's like, she is so cool. She comes to the pickleball court, and I was telling her this story. So, like, the way we played Monday morning, it was like fours. And it was just enough on the good courts where fours was just staying together playing. Back and forth, back and forth. 4 people would be done, 4 more people would go in. So we was just kind of switching fours. And I saw Melissa come, and I kind of wanted to play with the group I was playing with. I didn't really want to play with her, with this other group. I wanted to play with the guys I was playing with, little better guys. And so Melissa comes, and she wears a monster knee brace because she's got a lot of similar issues with what's wrong with my leg. And she put it on, jumped her shoes, but just the energy changed. I mean, she is just such a ball of fire in her, and the energy just changed when she shows up. And when she plays, she just when I play her and Brenda, my other friend, the native sister, they'll talk and laugh, because usually they like just playing together, but they just talk and laugh and talk and laugh and crack each other up when we play. So I like that. Necessary Evil, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. So yeah, up here it's really a bonus. Now I went to Superior. I went to Duluth, Minnesota, which is over Lake Superior. They got about a 5-6 mile bridge that goes from Minnesota to Wisconsin to Superior. Now Duluth is the college town. It's 2 colleges up there. It's University of Minnesota Duluth, and I think St. Mary's. So it's a college town. I don't know, I have to look up, maybe 40,000 people, maybe 50. I'm not sure how big it is. It's kind of cool. There's parts of it because it has like small little cliffs, and they ain't really cliffs, but like the streets, it's a hilly city. I'll just say that. And so as you're coming in, it kind of looks like a mini San Francisco. When you drive in and you kind of see all the houses and stuff kind of on like the hills and shit. So Duluth is pretty. And then Lake Superior has some beautiful, beautiful views. Some cold motherfucking water. And usually up there it's colder, but it was shit. It was in the 80s up there. So I took a coat because I'm like, so my son is up there, pick this motherfucker up. And of course he's not at where he lived. We got to go find him in some apartments. We pick him up. We go to one hole in the wall, and I'm looking at the menu. I'm like, ain't nothing here your sister gonna eat. He's like, okay, I got another place. So we had a beer, this place. I wasn't driving. My wife drove. I drove down there, but she drove back. So anyway, we go to this other place and we get some nice cold beers, and it's a hole in the wall, hole in the wall. But they got food. And so they had a stage. I mean, that's what kind of hole in the wall. It was a place that, like, if 200 motherfuckers in there, it's kind of packed. But they had slot machines. But anyway, they had all the walleye you can eat. So, of course, my son and I got walleye. Now, I'm not supposed to eat a whole lot of fried food. I like getting the fish. But so anyway, we have a couple good cold. No, we get a picture of Oktoberfest Samuel Adams. On the tap is pretty good. I don't think it's a very strong beer. I think it's like probably 5.5%, maybe. Not very strong, but good, good. And so they bring my food. Now, my daughter probably got chicken. My wife, maybe she got a burger. I'm not sure. But man, they bring out these fillets of walleyes, and they about this long, and they about that fat. And they brought four of them for me and 4 of them for this nigga, my son. So we eat the 4. He's like, the lady comes and says, do you want some more? So I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I want some more. So she brings me 2 more, brings him two more. She's like, do you want any more? He's like, yeah, bring me, let me see. So we were up to 6. He's like, yeah, bring me 4 more. This joker ate 10 pieces of walleye. And I mean, these fillets was like this. Now, you know, when they fry them, they kind of curl up, but they was like this and like this thick. He ate 10. I did eat 6. I can't say. But it was some of the best walleye I have ever had. And I don't know if y'all have ever had walleye. It's a pretty decently sized fish, but the meat be thick. And and down there, Superior, it's fresh. We getting this fish fresh, so it was good. But that motherfucker ate 10 pieces, all the fries. I think he ate some of my wife's burger and maybe some of his sister's stuff. So, but Superior, I must say, it is one of those European people towns that is mostly just European folks. Most of the brothers and sisters live in Duluth. So this is a town of about 30,000. He works in the factory up there and shit. So it was funny. We dropped him off. Now, Michael, I think maybe I've told the story about Michael, and this is a true story. My son and Michael have known each other since about 2nd grade. My son was at one school and met Michael in 2nd grade, and then they reunited in junior high, I think. And then when we moved down in south of the Twin Cities, Michael was living down there too. So it's like that was one of his dogs. And so Michael, you know, him and my son was cool, going, you know, being, you know, hanging out all the time. Then one day, Keelan was like, yeah, Michael's dad left him. I'm like, what the fuck you mean left him? He was like, this nigga moved out and left Michael. Michael got to be out of the apartment in a couple days. He moved out on his son. They were in 10th grade. He left his son to fend for himself and only 3 days to find somewhere to live. I mean, Michael lived in that house with no electricity, no nothing for about a week. And then my son told me, I'm like, yeah, bring him in. And Michael stayed with us maybe 3 months. They was going to the same school and shit. So anyway, Michael got really cool with a native brother. And the native brother had gave Michael like 10, 11 grand to buy a car. Mike bought him a sweet Audi. And Michael one day, just high and shit, leaves his car running, doesn't lock the door, because it's cold. It was cold that winter. You know, it'd be cold. Motherfuckers like want to keep the cars warm. But if you go in and out, the car's pretty warm anyway. But anyway, leaves his car, goes in the store, comes back, the car's gone. It's like, same thing happened to my son. But 2 weeks ago, Michael comes back, and Michael had a Mach 1. He got one of them Mustangs, them electric Mustangs. He went and bought it. He flew down to Florida, picked it up, and he drove it back to Minnesota. But the car that Michael drives costs more than the whole neighborhood that they live in. Yeah, they live in the White Hood. This is a European poor Wisconsin town. So kind of laughed. It's like houses I mean, they are near the lake, but to me, the houses look like 50. I mean, maybe because they're near the lake. They ain't got no lake views, but they're near the lake. Maybe 100, but it'd be hard stretch to me to pay 100 for one of them houses down there. So it's that kind of neighborhood, kind of cracked me. It's like he got the most expensive car in probably all of Superior. Oh, because the Mustang was sweet. So that's what we did. And then we're going back to Wisconsin again this weekend. Yeah, we just, take a little weekend trip. Yeah, so that's what we did last weekend. It was my wife's birthday. My wife had her birthday. We were gonna play putt golf, but my wife went to see, like, my wife makes a reservation and then we're gonna play putt golf. She doesn't look to see how much it is, and it's actually about $15 a person. So we had about 15 people. So now my mother, her mother wasn't gonna play. Trying to think who wasn't else gonna play, but it was $15 a person. They was like, they didn't want to pay. I definitely didn't really want to pay. I didn't really want to play and definitely not pay. I was happy with the food and the beer. And they had the game on. They had the food, the beer, and the game on. I was happy with that. So, yeah, and got her some gifts and stuff. And this week, yeah, I think I've been on since then. Went to the game on Friday night. I think I talked about that. Went to the game Friday night. I think I've already talked about that, which was cool. It's a beautiful night, and I think I'm going to homecoming game this week. Is my daughter's homecoming. So, hey, King Key, what's happening? Thank you for joining. And so my daughter's homecoming, and worst is the homecoming dance. It's like I can remember taking my 23-year-old son to his freshman. Like, he snuck in. He was like, "No, just take me up there." I'm like, "Did you buy a ticket?" "I don't need a ticket. I'm gonna get in." And he did get in. He snuck in. But I remember him going. But it's a whole different thing with girls. So my daughter calls me and is like, "I need some money." I'm thinking like my son, $20 son. What is it like when you used to give a person a 5, now it's a 20 or a 50? Shoot, let's be honest. And so she hits me with that big number. I'm like, oh. And so luckily she found a dress. It's very cheap. She bought it back in August. She got her some shoes. And so she's gonna be cute. She's gonna be cute. Her friends are all the girls that she hangs with are cute girls. And so they're gonna have fun. And they've got it planned out where they have reservations to a restaurant. So we're taking, a group, or mother's taking a group. We're driving, a bunch of the parents got together. We're driving them to the restaurant. Then we're going to pick them up, and then we're all dropping them off at the party. So, then we're taking them where they can go take pictures, then dropping them off at the party. Then my daughter and her mother they're going to have another party. They're going to have the after party is going to be at my daughter's mother's house, which I ain't got nothing to do with. My son was like, "Well, I might have to come back in town and be bouncer over there." So that's what's going on this week with us. So, just good family things, good family things. I love football. I love any level. The Vikings games have gotten, so expensive. Like my son keeps saying, keep watching for this Eagles game. He said keep watching because as the more Vikings lose, tickets start going down. I mean, the Vikings sold a lot of games because people had high expectations. But now with JJ out, or McCauley out, Wirtz again, when he got to scramble, he's got to come to his right. So his skill level is limited, but they had a chance to win the game too. Some dumb penalties, dumb ball management. Oh, I want to say Tyreek. Now, Tyreek was showing that he had surgery, but one thing, when they have them gross looking injuries, we know they can do special effects. We know that they can do special effects to make injuries look different. Now, I'm not saying he's not hurt, but I'm saying in the past, we have noticed that they can put special effects to look on injuries. We know they can do this. We've seen it in the past. So when I saw it, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, that looked like special effects. So remember when they tried to make fun of people that was critical in the NFL? It was like, well, what is your script this year? Oh, I looked at my script and my script said I was going to get injured. You know, trying to be funny, they still telling a little truth. So that was my first thinking. I was like, yeah, that, so could be, could not be, but very much could be special effects. And they've done this before. Because remember, when they was taking him off, maybe he has a high threshold of pain, especially knees. I mean, them nerves, you tear them nerves up too, you feel all that pain. You know, you start to really go into a little bit of shock. Don't forget that part. You start going into a little bit of shock if you get hurt enough. He ain't look like no shock, no nothing. So, but just keep in mind, I'm just saying that that's a possibility because we have seen that kind of thing in the past. So that was the first thing I thought. You know, and you guys catching my little short about the like you can tell in these games when they take off plays, like that play I did with Colorado. If you saw my short, I mean, it's just ridiculous when players take plays off, and it's like when you're playing rush linebacker, you're still like it hasn't really changed. Where like rush linebackers are ends, you're supposed to L. You're supposed to keep outside maintained. But what do they watch? They watch in films, and sometimes you are successful for crashing down the line and making a play. But we know that you can, you know, if you have a habit of not doing your responsibility and always wanting to crash down on the play, they can run that counter on you. But the effort that I showed, it was no effort of him trying to maintain. Matter of fact, he could end up getting blocked by a back. So it's a critical, you know, moment in the game, and then you see him take off plays. So that's why, you know, it's acting. And now the college players getting paid. It's more, you know, more just acting. Still just more acting. So nothing about it is real. Nothing about it is real. And then we got Bad Bunnies doing, you know, they got the Latin thing. Now, I don't know, it was going around for a minute that Santana was going to be headliner, but they put Bad Bunny. So maybe they'll let Santana play too. Let's hope that they put Santana on it. You know, they're probably going to put J-Lo on it too. So it ain't going to break Michael Jackson's record, and it ain't going to break Lamar's record, Kendrick's record. So it's like a funny NFL appeasement, you know. We're going to highlight their culture because you're fucking with these people, which you know, that's kind of good because NFL, you know, they did take some of the stuff off for Trump coming to Super Bowl, but Kendrick was right in his face, you know. Kendrick was right in his face. So, but these are trying times. Again, you just have to beware of your surroundings. Take care of yourself. That's the main thing, financially in every way. You know, take care of yourself. You know, we can only, like I've talked about gold for the last 2 years, but really shit the last 3 years. I've been talking about gold. So if you haven't bought any gold, I mean, you know, you haven't. Ethereum is the one that's really moving. Bitcoin is quite costly, but Ethereum, you know, I was coming on here where Ethereum was under, I think 3 years ago, it was still 15 to 1700 that you could have bought in. And I'm just saying, definitely Ethereum might be one to buy in before it hits 10,000 per one. I think now it was hit 4,000. So, yeah, I mean, it is like Erica, you know, on Erica's channel, she's right. You have to invest. I mean, you have to let some money ride. You do. You definitely do. And I mean, gold is always a safe investment, even if you just buy jewelry. You know, you're going to get, the only problem with jewelry is you're only going to get half of what you paid. Again, given the market, what kind of pieces you have. That's why watches tend to be a good investment too. You know, watches tend to hold their value given the type of watch you get. But gold generally holds its value. And gold hit 3,700. So you have an ounce of gold, you got 3,700. And just think, it wasn't long ago, them ounces was only $1,000, $900. So if you bought that ounce, that ounce that you bought for $900 now is worth $3,700 if you bought it at nine, even if you bought it at 1,000. So just a little advice. These are ways that they help you, that they do. And even though it is manipulated as everything else, it's a way that, and there's so many channels that help with that as well. So just a little advice. It's like what happens, as you get older, and it's like I tell the story. The thing I started doing is I started at one point I started keeping all my hundreds. So I would, like, if I had 100, I put it in the glass jar. Anytime I came across 100, or even if I got paid and got hundreds, I would just put them all in this glass jar. So once it got full, I switched to 50s. So anytime I'd come across 50s, I filled this glass jar with just $50 bills. And then I went down to a 20. Anytime I got any 20s, they went in this glass jar. So I've got a glass jar full of hundreds, a glass jar full of 50s, a glass jar full of 20s. Anytime I got a 10, did the same thing with the 10, did the same thing with the dollars, the fives, and I just had them sitting. I just had all that cash sitting. And it wasn't very hard, really, just to save it, just to save like that. Just, and you can go the other way. You can just go ones, fives, tens, and go up. It's not any set way to do it. And now, the funny thing now is we don't hardly use cash hardly at all. It's just, you don't, I've had, I think, $200 in my bag for maybe 2 months that I just forget I got $200. I think I got like $201 just in my bag. So, I mean, we just don't use it. We don't use it, so. My point I wanted to make across is like this is what a lot of people really don't understand is, even though you're an adult, you're not spending like you're an adult. And that's really the full maturity, is when you start using your money like an adult. When you teach yourself how the money moves. And again, how you attract money, how you attract it, and how you make it move, because that's why it's currency. And there is something you can tap into to make it move around you. Because that's what it is. That's how it's created. It is created to, yes, hold on to some, but it's also created to shuffle it. When you play in bones, you shuffle the bones. Well, money's the same way. And you have to become, at a certain age, you have to spend your money like an adult. And I think that's a lesson that people, you want to learn that by 30, really. Because I know, you get your first job and you just, big bills, you may be staying with moms or family, or if you have a young family and stuff, you learn a little quicker if you're young and you have a family. But now this is going into part two, is like, people are definitely having children older. And I noticed this phenomenon 25 years ago, that people were really starting to get older. I mean, I had my last child at 50. I didn't have my first child till I was 27. So it's funny seeing young parents, because you really don't see that a lot anymore. My brother-in-law, they didn't have their children until they was 30. My wife's, my nieces and nephews, they didn't have them children until they was in their 30s. And you're seeing that a lot more, where younger people, like my oldest son is 36. They don't have children yet. They might not have children. My next oldest, well, my daughter that I didn't raise, she has 2 children. And she's got to be 34 going on 35. No, yes. They're about 15 months apart. So she's 34 going on 35. And she has 2 children. One's in junior high, one's in 8th. Yeah, so he'll be in high school next year. And my other 30-year-old, both him and his girl is 30. My 22-year-old, I know or 23. He's 20. No, he got to be 24. No, my 27-year-old. I got a 27-year-old too. He ain't looking to have children. He's 27. He's my age when I had his brother. And then my 24-year-old, he's definitely not. And my 23-year-old, he's not. My daughter's 19. I don't think she's thinking about it. And my youngest. So my youngest is the only one. My youngest son and my youngest daughter are the only ones that talk about they wanted to have children, which is kind of funny. Just those two. My daughter's like, yeah, you know, get married. I'm gonna have children. But she made that very clear. I'm going to get married and then I'm going to have children. That's a good way to think about it. So that's why when I asked my wife to marry, I wanted her to see that. And I wanted her in her life to take nothing less. You know, I wanted her to, in her mind, to take nothing less than that. When she chooses somebody, if they can't offer you that, you know, then that might not be the right one. So, you know, the romance still should be alive in all of our lives. That's why I listen to, you know, mostly the old R&B stuff, the 70s and 80s, you know, because that vibration of that music, that's why they killed it. You know, they killed that kind of vibration. They'd rather have some shit talking about bitches and hoes than, you know, you're leaving me, baby. No, can't be what you're telling me, baby. I mean, they don't want that. I can search the universe and the galaxy of stars, but I'd never find one who is lovely as you are. I'm spaced out over you. I don't know what to do. I mean, tell me that vibration that comes off that music just uplifts you. That's why, you know, everything in this room uplifts me. I've brought all this shit in here. My crystals is everywhere. This is my power room. This is where I come and meditate. Come to just get into my mind. Let my consciousness be my guide. That's a song. But really, get into my consciousness, get into my higher selves. But what do they call it? I remote viewed last week. It was a trip, you know. It was like I remote viewed, and I was like, God damn, that's, you know, and it's not an easy thing to remote view. It's really not. But it was like I remote viewed like a motherfucker. And I was like, oh shit, I'm like really digging this shit, you know. I was like, I mean, you're really there. You're really there. It's not a dream. It's like you're somewhere. You're there. A dream, you just creating shit and you're just moving through the, no. When you remote view, you actually are there where you're watching some shit. You're really watching some shit. You're watching some shit in your consciousness. And I'm going, whoa. You know, I'm like, whoa. You know, it's not like it's because lucid dream, you're dreaming. It's not even lucid dreaming. It's like lucid dream is where you have control, but the way you create in a lucid dream, you're still creating. But when you remote view, you're at a specific place in time. You're at a specific place, and you are, you know, the watcher. So that's just a trip. That shit was a trip. I was like, okay, I'm here to view this shit. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool, you know. It's like, and that's the thing, is like when you're a spiritual person, the spiritualness doesn't happen every second, every minute. And a religious person will tell you the same thing, but it's like what people miss is, and what we really miss is like every moment is really spiritual. Every moment is, you know, like they say, even when it's bad, it's good because it's life. And that's why motherfuckers would rather have life in prison than being executed. Because even when it's bad, it's good. Because you're still experiencing, you're still the experiencer. You're still going through it. And all this, and that's why, you know, when they say when people die the last 10 seconds, you know, you're just trying to go rewind, relive. But you're supposed to feel like that all the time. Not just a near-death experience. You're supposed to really like look at this shit and be like, this shit is really cool. No, I don't need to hold on to all this forever, but right now, this shit is cool. This shit feels good. Fuck that memory. Fuck what I had. Fuck, I wish I'd have did it that way. Fuck, I want this. Fuck, I want that. Right now, there's nothing better. Like my cousin says, tonight, I'm all right. And so all the time, be all right. And realize that every moment is cool. And because if you, and that's, as quantum of science says, you do the work. And every minute does mean, you know, has meant so much to you. So when it's time to release, it's just time to release because you've experienced it all. You've loved it all. You felt it all. And when it's time to release, you just relieve without any regret because you know you did your most spiritual, you did your spiritual mission. And that's what they try to throw you off of, is stop you from your own individual spiritual mission. Gospel of Thomas, it's inside of you and outside of you. So you are part of the all. And everything about you is your own universe, really. You get into type of science and microscience, and you look inside of you and the pull and tug and pushing out parasites, that's getting these tumors. There's a war going on inside of you too. There's a universe that's going on that you are a part of. And you have the most say over it all. And they hope that everything inside of you hopes you do your best for it. And it's that simple. It's that simple. Then you put love into the world. And it's funny. Like here's an example. When I go to Lifetime Fitness, there's a lot of Hmong. I mean, there's more Hmong than melanated folks there. There's more Hmong here in this area. They I think came, I think 200 or 300, not quite 300,000 came in the 70s, right after the Vietnamese War, the Vietnam War. And I think right now our Hmong population is almost 500,000 people, I think. So anyway, the point I tell this, I saw a lady later, she was the same age as me. But I when I sit in the hot tub, it's a group of people that I've seen several times that go on the same day. And this blows my mind what I went through in the 60s, because I was born in 61, so I grew up also in the 60s. I graduated in the 70s. But that time when I was born and I went through kindergarten, up through junior high and high school, these motherfuckers was in war. They're growing up from the time they were little children, it was a war going on. Because again, the war in Vietnam really went on my whole life until I got in junior high. 72 was when they pulled out the U.S. troops. So from the time I was born till 1972, when I was 11, it was war. So these people that are my age, what they lived through was war growing up. Real war all the time. And their people started working with the CIA. Because again, historically, Hmong people are Chinese that went and stayed in Vietnam. They went to Vietnam, but they are traditionally Vietnamese. So them in the mountain yards, they both helped just as much as the South Vietnamese, the Arvin Army. So they started murking these people. Well, a lot of them, they didn't necessarily murk, but they put them in camps. They put them in work camps. So a lot of them was able to escape here. And then, since 11 or 12 years old, they've been here. And I said, I had a neighbor, 3 generations didn't speak English. You dig? They ran a Chinese restaurant. The grandfather probably fought. Because I was looking at him fix a bicycle up one day, and I was like, yeah, you fought in the war. You definitely fought. I was just checking out how he's moving. His children, they would be my age or slightly older. No, okay, then their children, and then, the 3rd generation spoke English. So the first they brought over here, the grandfather that started the restaurant didn't speak English, him or his wife. Their children didn't either. These people been over here since they was 11, 12, 13, 14, never learned to speak English. And the third generation was the first generation to have to speak English, which is interesting. And they ran a restaurant. They ran a restaurant. So that's why, when they was going back talking about they was messing with Oriental folks or Chinese or Hmong, is like, not here. Remember, they had a Vietnamese gang dude here. He murked 8 people in a arcade. He murked 8 people. I think he shot 10. Or did he shoot 8 people? Maybe I'm capping. Maybe, but I think he killed 8 people. I think he was mass killing in one time. He either shot 8 or he killed 8. I'm sorry, I had to look it up to see. But yeah, they had them gang stuff. They brought that shit here. So yeah, so it's some serious people. They wasn't nobody messing with them when they was talking about these people are being messed with. No one was messing with those people. Those people was fine. So, but yeah, take care of yourself, enjoy yourself. Whatever your spirituality is, realize it. Realize how big that is for you. Your spiritual self is like that's the only really way you can get to your higher self. Because some people, unfortunately, will never get to their higher selves. And it's like everyone, and I'm not going to get into souls and that kind of thing, because that is there also. That is there also. And that's that's one of the best gifts that we have, is that we have that. But that in itself doesn't make you totally spiritual, because there's something that's inside in everyone and they never activate it. So even though they have something that they never activate, so it never will work for them. And that's really like the food, television, the music. They're trying to keep everyone from not activating. And that's, to me, that's the down of religion. Most religion doesn't activate you under your own power. I'll say that. You're not activated under your own power. When you get activated, they're saying this other source is activating you. And that's the best way I can say about religion. It's not you activating you. It's coming from somewhere else is activating you. And even that is like a certain path. That's a path that many have went that is not, your natural path. Oh, peace to you too. Read my soul. Thank you for coming in. I just be soaking up, Gabe. so that is, keep that in mind, because like the power of suggestion is a motherfucker. And you reading the book, and this, the book is telling you, power of suggestion. That's one of the books are a lot of power suggestion. And reading it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I'll say, again, one thing that you have to say about Islam is they are into it. They want you to constantly be reminded that you're into this. 5 prayers a day. You wake up, the first thing you do. I mean, I practiced Islam in the late 70s, early 80s. And so it keeps you there. But again, as an individual, did you activate on your own? Now, if you've truly activated on your own and you get into that, then you have a clear head getting into that. Because if that's taken away from you, you know that you can still activate. Like my wife always like, well, can you activate when you're not high? Yeah, I can. It's just funner when I am high. But drinking is hard to activate when you're drinking, because that is the spirit. There's no doubt about that. That is the spirit. And, it's like people that would do crack would tell you after 2-3 days of just doing crack all the time. They you've been around, if you ever been around crack people, my ex-wife would be like, is there something behind the refrigerator? It's like this much room in the refrigerator. But anyway, it's the kind of thing, crack is really the kind of thing where you are getting a demon high. And I've talked about this many times before. It comes a point where you're not even getting yourself high. You're getting the demon inside of you high. That's what I've said. Just as demons like to get high, we got a God out there that wants to be famous. We got demons that want to get drunk with you, through you. And shit, alcohol it's a hard thing. It's like the way some people like smoking during meals and just, habit of just having breakfast, having a cigarette, having lunch, having a cigarette break. Some breaks was called cigarette breaks. You know that, don't you? Some breaks during the afternoon be a cigarette break. 15 minutes to go smoke you a cigarette. I watched one lady smoke 3 cigarettes in 15 minutes. So there's ways you let demons in. There are ways you can let demons in, and then those are ways. And as I was saying, people even snorting cocaine. You snort cocaine for 2-3 days. Man, it's the kind of drug that'll definitely make you paranoid. And it amazes me, the thing that's made a big comeback is people snorting powder. And then we've heard these stories of people snorting powder and dying because people didn't cut it with fentanyl. I've even heard that some people say they putting fentanyl in street weed. I don't see the point of that. And to say this, it's like fentanyl used to be pricey. That's why when I would say, I didn't understand, why they were using it as a cut, because it's a pricey cut. But as I understand the economics now, and I'm seeing how they're making it, and they're making it cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and they would rather put that in the street than the heroin, because you never saw people when people was on heroin, you never saw people just laying in the middle of the street or people stuck. You never saw that. I'm not saying you didn't see a drunk sleep, just sleep somewhere drunk. Yes, definitely. But I'm saying, and that kind of goes back what I was saying about the 50s and 60s, where it used to be functional heroin users. Heroin users going up in them factories and being able to still maintain. I've said personally, the Vietnam vet that told me about the heroin coming from Vietnam, that nigga would only shoot heroin on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I lived with the nigga for 2-3 months. You can't tell me that nigga saved enough every day to take a shot, because the kind of work he did, we worked for the water department, and that nigga was like in them ditches every day laying pipes. Every day, hard work, dirty work, every day. And you can't tell me this motherfucker, just break, go to the bathroom and take a shot. Well, I mean, you out and about, so it's really nowhere for him to shoot up, because you out. You somewhere where you got to put pipes in the ground. So that's what he did. So maybe he saved enough to do it every night, but I doubt it. It looked like he was a functional heroin user. And now that with the fentanyl, it's because when I had one of my surgeries, they was like, well, we giving you fentanyl because we want you out, but we quite don't want you totally out. Or maybe they did knock me out, I forget. But I don't know, it's funny. We go through this cycle of life, and the times. It's like the times, the cycle of life that I'm going through at this time, and I look at the cycle of my daughters have to go through. Her being only 14 and gonna live way into the 2050s, 2060s, 2070s, and what things are gonna be like for her. And just as, my children in their 30s, they they're going to live 30, 40, 50 more years at least. And what are things going to be like for them? And now my mother, my mother's 84. So, she's getting into, You know, like it's motherfucker, like I said many times, and I might repeat this every time, you know, I come on because it's like what happens is as you live, you know, your friends start dying, your family starts dying. My mother right now on the Ampy side, no, there's one cousin that he's still alive. He's got to be 88, 89. Yeah, there's one cousin older than her. But she's the oldest woman, he's the oldest man. And he's got to be 88, 89. When I went home, I didn't get a chance to see him, but he's still alive. But all their sisters, you know, it's only him and his brother left. All their sisters, and they had four sisters. No, Emma's still alive. They had, I think, three sisters died. Kathy, Priscilla, and my godmother. Yeah, three sisters that died. So that's what happens as you start seeing your family, you know, disappearing, your friends disappearing. And like even when I talk to people back in Kalamazoo where I grew up, it's like, yeah, that generation. And like I know people, like I know people. One of my friends, they didn't fuck with him because he only sold powder. They did not fuck with him, and I've told this story before, just to tell you, you know, remind you just how things go. And this motherfucker probably snorted cocaine every day since he was 24 or 25. And you know, he ended up having a pretty bad stroke, and he died maybe his late 50s. But he did cocaine for a good 25, 30 years, just snorting it. Still, you know, the police didn't fuck with him, never got busted. He was never rich. He's in the same crib, never rich, but you know, had enough. A lot of friends. And his brother died a couple weeks later. Can't imagine someone wanting fentanyl. Oh yeah, it's cheaper. It's cheaper. It's like what is it? Lithium. When they put you on lithium, it's more expensive. And so a lot of people got on heroin because when they get you, you take lithium, the medicine, you know, that motherfucker is pretty strong. And so it makes you, you know, taste that heroin stuff, taking that lithium. And, you know, if your insurance will quit paying for lithium, you can use heroin because, you know, you already got that feeling. And so now fentanyl is cheaper. But again, it's hard to regulate. Like they got strips. And it's funny the kind of programs they got rid of. They got rid of giving the pens to just anybody. Like they was giving needles out. They was giving them pens to bring you back. To bring back, that's what I call it, the bring back pens. But they was just giving them to people. They cut that out. You know, they cut that part out. And they had just strips to see if like if you got cocaine and if it was fentanyl in it, they had strips that you could test the fentanyl. Or even pills, you know, you could bust a pill open to see if it had fentanyl in it. Because I know a young man, I know a girl that shot fentanyl and died, you know, and I think she probably wanted to die. I think, you know, really. But another cat just took a pill and he died. I'm friends with a lady on Facebook, lived in California. Her daughter took a pill and died at 19, 20. Fentanyl in it, ODs, you know, and fentanyl, you know, them pens don't work. You got to hit a person 2 or 3 pins, you know, they don't work as strong as just if you ODing off heroin. And then that's something. It's like, you know, so many, when one group of people they call it a sickness. Now they criminalize crack. You weren't a drug addict, you know, you wasn't an addict. But when all them mugs got on it, then all of a sudden they started looking at it different. But fentanyl, really, you know, they was really trying to help people. Now I'll say that under Republicans. I mean, under the Democrats. And remember, Biden or Obama was the one. Pennsylvania, like they passed the law that said you could just come to our place and just shoot heroin, and Obama shut it down. They were trying to say, you know, let's have, you know, if a person ODs, and I made a joke about it and shit, motherfuckers, you know, come sit in there and it's like, hey, keep an eye on Gene over there, because you know Gene usually his heroin's usually too strong. He'll probably OD, so let's keep an eye on him. There he goes, he's injecting it. Up, his eyes going back into his head. Boop. There's Gene. There you go. He's back with us. Hey, quit using as much. But I mean, and Obama shut that down. And what's wrong with that? You know, what's wrong with that? But yeah, I mean, but it's like even like looking at people that want crack, and like were there functional people that did crack? Of course there is. I told a story about the ex-football player Lynn Barney. Lynn Barney was doing games and stuff for BET. He's the one that was like, when they saw my name, he's like, "You really want to be called Toby?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my name." So we used to have an inside joke. But anyway, he got caught with crack, and he had to have been in his late 50s. Remember, that's how they killed Ike Turner. Somebody gave Ike Turner crack and bad physical health, and maybe that was his way of killing himself. Well, he had a heart attack, probably stroked out, heart attack. So, but there's people that, so are there functional ones? Of course, but not most. Not most. I guess it'd be easier using pills, but again, you don't know how it's mixed up. Seems like, when people get that mud tar heroin, you can cut it up and you kind of know the potency. I've never fucked with fentanyl like that to know the potency. It's like, you don't. But the strange thing is, with people with OD used to OD on heroin, people would want that heroin. That is, I've witnessed that. It's like, who got Bobby OD'd? Who got that? So that to me was strange. But this fentanyl is killing people, and they can't bring them back with the shots. So now I don't like here in Minnesota. I don't see motherfuckers just stuck. Like my son and them made fun of it, like they posed pictures like that, but they was just bullshitting. They was just bullshitting. They call it something where people take poses and be leaning like that. I saw a girl. I was like, my car was broke down. So that's one thing here. You live in the city of Minneapolis, it'll take you all these suburbs. It's like 11, 12, about 14, 16 suburbs. Shit, one, it's a train that'll take you about 45 miles away. It's a train you can take. We got trains here, but you can take the trains or bus anywhere. But anyway, I'm going to work one morning. I think, did I have to be there later? Because it wasn't super early. Maybe it was. But it was like this girl took a shot and got on the bus. She started nodding and shit on the bus. Like she had took a shot, walked to the bus stop, got on the bus stop, like she had decided that's where she was going to do her nod. And the bus driver's going crazy. And I'm like looking at the watch like, motherfucker, drive this bus. Because the bus stops everywhere. And I had to transfer. Like, motherfucker, fuck this chick, man. She knew what she's on. And he just had the police take her off. I don't know if they hit her with the shot, but it was pretty quick. They got her. I wasn't late to work, but it was just funny. He just kept looking back at her because she was like barely sitting in her seat back to, about the inch of falling away. So it's like, how do you go take a shot and then get on the bus? I mean, why would you do that? That's why when you see people standing and shit, they went around the building, then they come back and shit, it's like, oh, well, I was going to walk, but be stuck in the step, like the statue and shit. Why don't people get their money when they be high like that, just posing? If you would give a person dressed up as a statue, why won't you give a heroin addict to just be froze? You should give him $1. That's what they should start doing, is putting a little cup down there when they froze. And people think they human statues and shit. That's what I think they should do. I'm not going to go too much longer because I am going to watch some baseball today. But Read My Soul came in, and Max V Production, man, subscribe. You see these names, subscribe to him. Read My Soul. He's stepped up. And I like, and it's funny, like for me, old as I am, to speak about especially current music, is it really like I don't dig Drake, and is it my place to really critique it? Because it's not something that I was heavily locked into, So it's like, I like that I can listen to him and get his perspective of the critique of music that, even though I was a little older than the cats doing it, I was still like, I was a hip hop from the very beginning, back to King Tim the Third, especially, once it, and mostly East Coast hip hop, really, I'll say that. I was on the East Coast when hip hop was born. Hell, I saw Grandmaster Flash live, Curtis Blow. I'm trying to think who else. What was Kumo D's group? It's too many to mention, too many rappers to mention. And I didn't really care for rap concerts. I'll tell the truth. They're not good as a rock concert, people, or not rock, but people playing instrument. It's not as good. You know, I've never, Hammer. I saw Hammer live twice. So I like that I can hear that perspective from someone that was kind of, he talks about what is his generational kind of look and experience from things and explaining and experiencing the music and the personalities. And so I like that I can watch him and he, hear his perspective on this thing because I think he has a clearer look than what I do. Because again, I'm looking at it as an elder that looks again at someone, much younger and a much younger experience. And even though I did listen to the music, I didn't pay a big attention to the personalities behind the music, if that makes sense. Well, I think I've said enough. I feel pretty good. I've got all this off. Oh yeah. Oh man. It's like songs that just like even though just what you said drove my kundalini. Thank you for that. Yeah, pushed my kundalini. Oh, thank you, bro. Passing that. Yeah, I mean oh wow. Okay, let me give it out. It keeps coming. Thank you for that. Wow. Yeah, it's like I started the show saying to people, bitching about my music and stuff. And, it's like when I was around public, I took out like I like that one DMX song, but he talks about this chick in the beginning sucking dick and stuff. And it's like, no, I can't play that out in public. So I even playing Big Mike, it was just slightly bit, but every other song was pretty much, R&B jazz. You dig? I'm playing R&B and jazz. And I like the vibration of the old R&B. I mean, I listen to like when I take a shower, that's the first thing I'm doing is I'm listening to music and I dance. I've been telling you, since this channel been on, even when my last channel before they took it off in 20, you got to dance too. Just move. You got to move. No matter what you do, move. If you have a job where you got to sit down, remember every 15 minutes you got to get up. And I know you've been seeing me for the last hour just sitting here, which is kind of killing me. Oh, more, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I started, and I heard one dude was like, wonder was he his plant because he ain't really made. He's made let's say that though. That song of his, that's an example of making one song and pretty much being set. And he hasn't really hit, too much after that. I heard a song by him the other day. I was surprised. The Sirius played him. I was like, wow. But he was a person that, if you looked at his views, I mean, he killed it. He killed it from one song. And that's the business. It's like, and if you're a good business person, that's getting back to that one song you can. I mean, Soulja Boy, basically, he had that one song that he wrote for a long time. So, all right, y'all. I tell you what, let me see, I'm playing pickleball in the morning tomorrow. Let's see, I'm playing pickleball in the morning because I need to get my picks in here. So maybe I'll do my picks tomorrow. Let me see, I should be done with pickleball. I'll probably play from 8:30 to probably 10:30. And then I'm going to go to Lifetime, probably after that to the hot tub and then come home. So I'll plan on having my coffee and I'll come on maybe noonish, one-ish, sometime in the afternoon. Well, I'm glad somebody does, It's fun just coming on, talking shit. It's fun. And it is just and I'm going to tell you, I take, what is it? Lion's Mane. Lion's Mane. Now, I had a stroke in 24 and it was, before I started taking Lion's Mane, the remembering it was slower, but I'll say this, since I've taken Lion's Mane and I've been on Lion's Mane a good, maybe going 9-10 months, maybe even going on a year, it helps. It helps with the recall because that's what you lose. You lose Like, I always remember 20, 30 years ago, but what you notice when you start losing it is you can't remember what you just did. You can't remember the clues. That's what you start losing is clues. Like say you lost your keys, you can remember where I did this, did this, did this, did this. That's how you are now. But that's what you start forgetting. It's like walking in a room and forget why you done walked in the room. Or walking upstairs and you get upstairs like, what the fuck am I doing up here? You done forgot that quickly. You done forgot that quickly. And since I've taken lion's mane, um, it it really seems to help with the clarity. It really does. Because I've watched me talk after I had my stroke and I could see where, but since I've been consistently taking that lion's mane, it seems to help. It really does. And I'm still, I'm 64. So forgetfulness, you're going to have that just because of your old age. But the key is maintaining things that will give you hints to what you just did. Because life goes by, we're constantly just doing shit. So that's what you need to maintain in memory is the hints of what you just did. Did you pay enough attention? Like I go crazy. I lose a sock. I go crazy because I'll put, you put laundry in and then just be one Nike sock and I get pissed like a motherfucker. And I'm just ranting and raving and going through the clothes and, because I knew I stuck in there because I tie my socks in a knot. And that's a habit from a girl I went to A&T with. She's like, no, don't roll your socks in a band. You're stretching them out. So ever since that chick, and I only dated her. This is the chick that I'll tell the story of the chick. So me and the chick, we done got done. And she's like, well, let's just snuggle. I'm like, snuggle what? I don't know. I just went off on her. I picked her up and just threw her out in the hallway. And she's banging on my room. My roommate was next door. And she's banging on his door. Let me in. He done went crazy on me. Let me in. He done put me in his house naked. But since she told me that, I have always tied my socks in a knot. And I wash them like that because it keeps them. But it takes longer to dry when you knot them up. So I take them apart to dry them. And so if I miss one, I am tripping. I am really tripping. Like, where I know I sock is here, So keep the little things that give you hints. Well, this has been the Chalk